What's going on, everybody? You found Bottom Tier Collector. I am your host, the Bearded One, bringing you a top tier story from a bottom tier reader. Wolverine number 3, kind of coming to the conclusion of a 3-story arc. It's not necessarily labeled as a 3-story arc, but it kind of is. Let's get into it. So we're dropped immediately into the end of issue 2, where Wolverine is possessed on the rooftop looking down at Lindsay McCabe and the Silver Samurai with Jessica Drew in hand, possessed by the Muramasa blade. And he jumps into the flaming fires of the building that was set on fire from the sparks given off of the Muramasa blade and Wolverine's claws. Lindsay McCabe, very concerned for Wolverine, his health, and Jessica Drew, jumps into the flaming building, and Silver Samurai rescues her against her will. You know, she's just very irrational at this point. She got two of her closest friends in tow, escaping, and she wants to help, right? And Silver Samurai grabs her from, part of the building collapsing nearly on top of her, and he saves her life. And they end up at a place called O'Donnell's. I don't know much about this guy. Doesn't really give much of a backstory. I don't know where he comes from. But it just kind of lays the scene of the police chief who was there on the scene when the bar from issue 2 was destroyed. He is now questioning this character named O'Donnell. No first name, no nothing. Just O'Donnell. And he makes his way out of the room as Lindsay McCabe and Silver Samurai are coming in. They make passing gestures, and the police chief lets Lindsay McCabe know that he already knows who she is, and he likes to know what all goes on the island as well. Being the police chief of Madripoor, he's got to know everything, right? But he's got this weird, mysterious, almost like a villain vibe about him. I don't feel like we're going to see the end of Madripoor's police chief. I feel like he's going to show up sometime in the future. I just get that vibe from this police chief. It's a very slimy kind of guy. And then apparently we discover McCabe and O'Donnell know each other. Again, not a lot of backstory. We're just not very clear on the connection here. They kind of discuss the events. We're getting some plot, some exposition is what I'm meaning to say. Some plot exposition here, and we're tying up loose ends right here. So remember from issue 1, the Cult of the Black Blade attacked Lindsay McCabe in her hotel room. Well, they've been captured. They were subdued by Wolverine, and apparently they're now in the possession of O'Donnell, who's got them locked up in his wine cellar. And they need to know the location of Jessica Drew and Wolverine and where they've gone. So they're going to go downstairs and convince these cult members to confess and talk about the location of where Jessica Drew and Wolverine might be. Then the book kind of takes a dark turn. Jessica Drew convinces O'Donnell and Silver Samurai to let her do the part of convincing the prisoners to confess or to talk. And she starts to beat on one of the lady prisoners, takes her into the shadows, and we assume she's been killed. And as Lindsay McCabe walks back out of the shadows with blood on the blade and has this crazed look on her face, it reminds me of the Joker in the comic books, and not current Joker, but more of an old school Joker. Just this very sinister personality about her, and it freaks out the other 2 male prisoners so much that they actually talk and give O'Donnell the location of Jessica Drew and Wolverine. And while that's going on, while he's getting the information, we're in the hallway, and what do you know? It's 1988. We're getting adult-themed comic books, but we're not quite getting rated R comic books right. It's not quite been sent over the edge. We discover that it was all an act. That Lindsay McCabe is a former actress, and it was all a performance. The blood was fake. Lindsay McCabe did the screaming. The only thing that was real was some of the punching and slapping she did on the girl. So it was all just a ruse to get the prisoners to confess. What do you know? And then we're taken to the next scene where the cult of the Black Blade exists in the middle of nowhere, in the boonies, they even say in the book. It's in the boonies. And we're getting some more plot exposition here of what's going to happen, how Silver Samurai and McCabe and O'Donnell are going to plan this attack and rescue. And we're taken to a scene of a ceremony where Wolverine, being possessed by the Muramasa Blade, is prepared to sacrifice Jessica Drew, who's been prepared as a sacrifice. And just before Wolverine takes the blade to the back of Jessica Drew's neck and sacrifices her in this ritual, Lindsay McCabe, who's having this internal struggle, what do I do? Do I not pull the trigger? She was given a sniper rifle, by the way, to assassinate Wolverine. And so she's up high up top, got the gun aimed at Wolverine's head, and she's just having this internal struggle. Do I assassinate Wolverine and save my best friend, or do I not pull the trigger and save Wolverine, potentially save Wolverine, but lose the life of my best friend? What do I do? What do I do? And right before it's too late to make a decision, she pulls the trigger and knocks Wolverine onto his back. We assume he's shot and he's dead. We're not sure, because immediately Silver Samurai jumps onto the scene and starts attacking cult members. And while this is going on, Wolverine gets back up and we discover he's not dead. And he begins to fight Silver Samurai. And I really enjoyed this part of the book, the fight between Wolverine and Silver Samurai. The mask and the garment that Wolverine's wearing, like he is on the cover here, is very cool, and I liked the jaw mask thing. It looked really awesome, and the fight was really cool. I'll put up some action scenes, pow, 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 of the fight, and all is good at the end, because somewhere in the middle of the fight, Wolverine comes to his senses. The blade no longer possesses him, and he tosses the blade aside. They're picking up Jessica Drew, and at the very end, the Silver Samurai picks up the Muramasa blade, and they wait. Wolverine's getting ready to pop his claws and fight Silver Samurai, but because Silver Samurai is a mutant, he I don't know the full details of his mutant ability. It has something to do with his spirit, and his energy goes into his sword, and his sword becomes an extension of himself. And because of his mutant ability, the Muramasa blade does not possess Silver Samurai. It just becomes a more powerful Silver Samurai, I guess. Not really sure. But Silver Samurai and Wolverine share some dialogue, and Silver Samurai parts ways. At the very end of the book, we get the end of the story. Lindsay McCabe being thankful she missed, and Wolverine telling her, I appreciate the thickness of my mask that you shot through, and an even thicker skull underneath the mask. And Wolverine says, let's go celebrate the dawn. So that is Wolverine number 3, and I think it's safe to say we've concluded the end of this first 3-issue arc. I thought the arc was enjoyable. Not necessarily one of my most favorite stories of all time, But it was a fun little adventure that Wolverine had. Definitely worth my time, and I'm looking forward to more issues. This specific issue, I think, was my favorite issue, which is good. The story was solid at the beginning. I feel like it was a little too cute in the middle of the story, issue 2, but it's set up for issue 3, and we got that really cool Wolverine Silver Samurai fight. We got the really dark moment with Lindsay McCabe that made me start to question, what kind of book am I reading? I thought this was a 30-year-old book that wouldn't get this dark, but it had that cute comedy relief moment of it all being a ruse. Lindsay McCabe's actions toward the prisoner, so I really liked all that. It didn't ruin the mood of the book. I liked learning about this Muramasa blade. I think it was just a total setup this whole time to have Silver Samurai take over the Muramasa blade, which gets me excited for a future potential story between possibly Wolverine and Silver Samurai with the Muramasa blade. Silver Samurai is now going to be a force to be reckoned with now that he controls the Muramasa blade. We'll just have to see where Silver Samurai ends up in the future in this run. I would imagine he's going to show back up in this run. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much more I have to say about this story arc. I didn't like Lindsay McCabe so much in this story. It's kind of cheap to me. I didn't explain this in my walkthrough of the book, but she tells Silver Samurai that she knows her way around guns because she starred in a movie, like a war movie or something, and I just find it hard to believe that this white bread girl who's a former actress knows how to assassinate and snipe people from knowledge in a movie, which may or may not be accurate knowledge anyways, because we all know how movies aren't truly accurate representations of reality. So that was a little hard to swallow. How's Lindsay McCabe able to make such an accurate shot? How's she not scared to make this shot? You had the scenes in issue 2 where she tried to act so tough. The only time, the only part where I liked Lindsay McCabe was in the prisoner scene, where it just kind of made sense that she didn't kill anyone. It was a very organic scene, and I liked that for Lindsay McCabe. But overall, if I never see Lindsay McCabe again in a story, I don't think I'll miss her. I would like to see more Jessica Drew, though, her being Spider-Woman. I have not seen a cover of Wolverine and Spider-Woman together in this run. However, I think it'd be really cool if Jessica Drew came back and we could get some post story of Wolverine and Jessica Drew. Maybe they have a newfound friendship because Wolverine saved her life. I don't know. I don't know where the story is going to go now that we've tied up all the loose ends from issues 1 and 2. We'll probably get a whole brand new arc. But if Jessica Drew were to come back, I would look forward to that. That would be really fun to see. Spider-Woman and Wolverine. I think I'm going to leave it here, guys. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting. Thank you for watching my content. Look forward to Wolverine issue number 4 next week. And until next time.